Well, welcome to the portion. Brenda and I are excited that we get to be here on a Thursday night. This is again our second time doing this now. We're trying to do Thursday evenings on the third Thursday of every month so that all the women who work outside of their homes and they can't get back in time or can't make it to be with us on Friday mornings, at least we have one night a month that we get to be with you. And then when we're all done, always know if you're over on Facebook watching, hello, or watching on the replay, know that when we're done and we stop the recordings, we go into an after party. So it's a time of fellowship. We get to share, chit chat, and talk. So it's not too late. You can always hop over with us over here and hang out with us. Brenda, how's your week?
I have had a good week. Yeah, I've had a really good week. We've had some incredible blessings from the Holy One. For those of you that have been praying for us, we got our 3 ramps so that my husband can now get out of the house. So we have our wheelchair ramps finally. For the front door and then the steps down to the driveway. So that's one of the 3-part push that we're getting. And then we're going to get the trailer hitch, and then we're going to get the little trailer thing to be able to put the chair on the back of the trailer. So we're in the process of doing that, but it was just such a miracle, Charlie. It was just such a God thing that, we really just submitted this to him. And a lot of you ladies were praying for us, and we were challenging one another over on the Tuesday talk in the Rooted Cafe. The ladies were we were all challenging each other to truly believe for big things right now, and that when the Holy One puts something that's in your heart that's really important, and that it's for the good of your family or wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, to really trust him for that, to not just see it as an obstacle, but to truly trust him that if he's put it in your heart, that is what needs to be done, that he will allow that to come forth. But we just want to thank him for it. So we started thanking him for it. And bam, the next day, guess what happened? Yeah, the next day was amazing. So we were able to get those ramps. So I'll take video and post it just so you all can see. Beautiful, beautiful opportunity for my husband to be blessed, and for me too, because we'll get out of the house now. So
you'll get to do so many fun things. So it's like, and come to Hot Springs. I'm in Hot Springs today. Yeah. Get you to Hot Springs for the day.
No, you're in Arkansas. You're just around the corner.
I am. I'm just around the corner where I'm here for a month. And then we head back to Tennessee, and then to Oklahoma. Oh no, back here and then Oklahoma. Lord, I don't know. But yeah, we're
something
here
like that.
We're here for a month. That's what I'm going to say. So exciting. Hashtag full-time ministry. So we're here for a month. Y'all remember praying for my daughter and family. They are still suffering from side effects of COVID. So they're still struggling. I know my daughter just talked to her. She's still just not well. So I probably won't get to see them. Even though we're here, it's going to be a bit before she's going to test again tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty sad. I'm here and I can't take care of my girl because we just can't get sick. So right. I'm gonna make her soup and go leave it on the doorstep and run. So we'll see what happens. But everyone, please keep them in your prayers if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Daughter and her family. The girls are fine. It's just Shelby. She's still dealing with all the things. So anyways, yeah, we have a good portion to go over. Like, who would have thought? We're going to talk about hanging people and rebellious sons. And this is a really fun portion because this is the one that a lot of our atheists like to use to say that what kind of God do you serve that's going to hang your, if you're supposed to be using the Torah, are we supposed to really use it? Or even people who are like, they're just using New Testament only believers, and they're saying, well, then we should be killing our children if they are rebellious. And these are going to be the sections that we're going to kind of talk about today, because I mean, this is a section, it's a section that we're going to hear all the time. Keet sets it, 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 Keet sets it.
Let's try this. Tetze.
Tetze. how did I like write that?
Have no idea. It's all good. It's lots of T's and lots of Z's in there. Lots and lots of T's.
It's so funny. I wrote it phonetically out for myself. It looks like nothing like Tetze, and I don't know what I wrote. And I was also writing the other day when I was driving. So not me driving, but Randy was driving. And I was like going over bridges and like,
that's
so God only knows. So super fun when you go out, when you go out. When you go out. And it's interesting because we're going to start a section. We're going to have Tetze, then we have Kitavo, then we have, which is when you come home. So when you go out, you're going to find some stuff. And then when you come home, Kitavo, you come back home, we're going to talk about some. And then we have Nitzvaim. Nitzvaim is next after that. It's that you have to stand in it for a while. So you're going to go out. Then when you come home, and then when you come back, you're going to have to stand with it and decide, what do I do with this? Right. So this is kind of what we're going to be talking about, how we're going to, and Brenda, I had written a note in my Bible from a while back that this really portion is about walking the 10 words. It really is.
It seriously is walking the 10 words. It seriously is how we live in community, Charlie. I mean, every single one of these verses and these sections in this Torah portion are challenging us to, are you going to be honorable? Are you going to be merciful? Are you going to be respectful? Even when you're angry, even when you think you have rights, even when it is inconvenient, are you going to be helpful? Even when it puts you out? I mean, really, this is truly, truly, truly a great way in this month of Elul for us to do a whole lot of introspection and to be taking inventory, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think this is a portion too, we find out God will give us things we want sometimes to show us what we need.
Yeah.
We'll see it happening when they wanted a king.
Yeah.
So they gave him Saul. It's what they wanted, but they realized what they really needed. And then they get David, right? What they really needed was an anointing. We're going to see that. I mean, right off the bat.
Yeah.
If you go out and you go to war and you bring home the women, and you can't just bring home and get married to them and just, there's a process that has to go through.
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? It sounds silly to say that. It's beautiful.
No, it really is beautiful. Go.
No, it's beautiful because it's a protection.
Seriously, a protection. And it's really saying, I mean, where have we been noticing in the last few Torah portions? And I was actually just reading in Judges about Samson. What are we noticing about what happens when we see something with our eyes and we start lusting after it, and then we throw all caution to the wind and we just go after it? Like, this is what we want. I'm going to go get this. It brings destruction.
Yes.
Whenever we feed this beast within us and we don't, we're not, well, you and I are going to talk about that double lamed, double lesh. when we're just allowing our beast nature to influence our decision making, our passions are not always the best thing for us. And the month of Elul is really talking about teaching us discipline and teaching us to take good, courageous inventory of ourselves, and also to walk in respectfulness towards other people. And man, every single one of these situations, Charlie, is really challenging us. Like, if you are just lusting after this woman, you're saying, you can't just go grab her and take her. You can't just do that. And so the Holy One puts out protocols to cause us to take a deep breath and, hey, slow your roll.
Yes. A lot of people don't know that what happened is now my understanding today is that this is not any of the ites. We're not talking about the ites because they were told not to take those women. These are they already know they're not supposed to take the women anyway. But you know what? He's making provision. If you notice, he's making provision for when we mess up, because I wrote something down. My husband said it was so good. Oh gosh, he was just basically there was going to be chaos. He gave us instructions in the midst of our disobedience because he knows in the middle of all the chaos, which way is up, right? Have you guys, I mean, we're okay. If we didn't have any instructions here we really aren't supposed to take the women, because guess what happened? These women knew when there was going to be a battle, when things would happen, they already knew that if they lost, that first of all, their husbands probably were going to die.
Right.
They probably were going to die. So they were going to have to fend for themselves. So they would get all dressed up.
Yep.
Very elaborate to look sexy. You know, this is like 90 Day Fiance on crack. They're like all dressed up. They're trying to attract all the men because they need it. They're hoping that they'll be picked as part of the spoils, right?
Right.
That they'll be taken. But then when they get back to the camp, so that this would be, they would, first of all, they would be protected, even if they didn't know they needed to be, they would be protected by given a 30-day cool down period.
Right.
All the shiny stuff would get taken off.
Yep.
All the makeup comes off. The nails get clipped.
Hair's gone.
Hair's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they get 30 days to mourn their families. So they're probably got puffy eyes from crying, everything that's happened in their lives. They get 30 days. And then if you still want her, then okay. But if not, they weren't allowed to sell her to somebody. They weren't allowed to just treat her any old way. She was allowed to go where she wanted to go. She was given the choice of what she wanted to do at the end of that time. And I was thinking about, I've seen a picture, it might have been TikTok, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's where I saw it. And there's a girl and she has like no teeth, and she looks like an addict. She looks horrible and like just stringy hair looking. She goes through in 30 whatever seconds those TikToks are. She puts teeth in, she does makeup. I mean, of course, she's doing like this woohoo, and then all of a sudden she has makeup, and woohoo, all of a sudden she has some hair extensions put in. She is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Of course, she's got like shapewear. You know, we can be deceiving. So can you imagine these girls are all lined up with like, it'd be like that. And then all of a sudden she takes out her teeth, she takes off her hair, she takes off, you're like, whoa, that is not what I thought I was getting. And that poor girl would have the option to go somewhere else. I remember my husband saying, I loved waking up and when we were camping one time, he goes, and you come out and you're like, looked more beautiful without makeup on than you did. I'm like, first of all, now I'm keeping you.
Yeah, you're a keeper.
It was refreshing, you know, because I mean, in these days, you don't even know if it's going to be a woman. Let's be honest. I'm not kidding. Slow things down when there's stuff that, like you were saying, Brenda, when our passions, with our lust, when our flesh is trying to drive this bus, you need to slow down the crazy train and give it 30 days. And just see things from what is this really about, right?
Right, exactly. And what do you really want? And let the passions cool, and consider what this is going to mean. Because when you know, the thing is about what do brides represent? Let's play a little game here. Let's go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
What do the brides represent? Okay. So think about what the bride is supposed to do. The bride is supposed to be captivated by the groom, right? She's supposed to be captivated. She's supposed to be able to look at him and go, man, you are going to take care of me. Everything is going to work out great. You're going to be that covering over me. This is wonderful. But if she's been taken from a war situation where there's trauma and death, obviously, even if it wasn't her husband who died or her parents who died, there was death all around her. They were in a war situation. And so there's trauma involved. So the Holy One's saying, let's allow that trauma to process. Let's allow the grieving to process. And then let the bride be captivated, because she had a choice in the matter too. So here we go. You know, like, we want to be prepared as a bride. So let's play that game. You know what I mean? Like, let's think about that. So what if this guy rides in, sees that you are devastated, you have no home, but he just sees something about you. He sees a kindness about you or something in your grief. And he takes you into his home and he says, you can come and be with us. I'll take you. I will care for you. I will take comfort for you. Well, those 30 days, she's not going to trust him. But in those 30 days, what if in those 30 days, she was able to see the real him? She was able to
Yeah.
actually see who he was and actually
Yes.
watch how he walked it out, because these men were being required by Torah to walk faithfully, to walk righteously, to do things the right way. They were being challenged every day to do the right thing because they were the people of God,
Yes. Yes.
and they were supposed to be different. They were supposed to be changing the world by their behavior, right?
Right. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So she gets to, Brenda, it's kind of, we skip over. I'm just going to, because I think this is kind of goes with this. We skip over and we think something as insignificant as don't yoke your donkey up with an ox.
well,
This is a totally same thing as when we
it's the
talk about being
same
unequally yoked.
thing.
I've always
Yes.
grown up thinking this is about your beliefs. It's not just about your beliefs.
Mhm.
There's a lot of
No.
things that come into play. And I mean, I remember I had this
Right.
conversation with my daughter, but one of the things that I didn't, which I believe is the difference between we have a pace issue and a carrying capacity. So if you have a donkey, a little donkey, Pepito, up with an ox, you have the power of an ox, and little donkey, of course it can carry things, but it's someone's gonna break a neck or
Yeah.
a heart. Someone's
Yeah.
heart or neck is gonna get broken in this.
That's right. That donkey will kill itself trying to keep up.
Right. Now, if you're married to someone already, this does not pertain to you. So tell this to someone not married. But if you're thinking about this, is why it's so important that you are equally yoked with this person. You are not outpacing them spiritually, because it will be a struggle. Everyone and woman who's married right now and they're going through that, they'll all say, I want you to say yes, amen. Sister,
Yeah.
wait. Write in the comments,
Yes.
sister, wait for him.
Wait
Sister,
for
wait
him.
for him. Because as much as you think you want someone, your flesh is, because love covers a multitude of sins, so does lust, but in the wrong way.
Yep.
Lust covers things that you should be looking at, and you're like, can't see the forest for the trees because
Right.
it's so right.
Right.
So if you have this things, I always think you have, first of all, the religion, right? To make sure that you are equally yoked in this, that yourself, your pace is
Right.
equal. You have the same desires. You have the same, right? Even some things is, and this makes up your cultures. And it doesn't necessarily mean ethnicities, but it might be that your cultures don't line up, that you're with someone who they're very indoctrinated in their culture and you come into it and you're going to have to let go of your culture and take on their culture, or vice versa. So it does matter. It doesn't, and it's one of the hardest things you're going to ever do. So if you have your culture lined up, if you have your spiritual beliefs are lined up, you have your discipline, how you discipline children are lined up. That's going to be a big thing, right, Brian? I mean,
right.
if one of you are
Absolutely.
a little bit stronger on your, and the other one's like, oh, just give him a timeout. Y'all are going to fight. I mean, there's things that are got to line up so that you can pull this load equally. And it really matters. So I think it's important that you sit down and say, what are the things that are important to me, so that I make sure we line this up rightly so we can pull this cart.
Exactly. And Charlie, you're talking about the ox and the donkey, and it's the same with, why does the Holy One tell us things like don't mix fabrics? Why does he tell us things like that? Because you were talking about this recently, because linen has a different frequency than wool, and the frequencies don't coordinate well. Is that correct? Is that what you're
We
saying?
talked about this. It was actually in our book club, and we
Don't
were
they
talking about
counteract each other?
they do. Like they both are at a higher frequency. They're both at like 5,000 or something. They're at a very, like linen's at a crazy high frequency, but when it's mixed with wool, it's zero. It counts, and at 5,000 is a super, super high healing frequency.
Right.
So, you'll know you're at a Hebrew roots or messianic, whatever we want to call it. You're at a convention when you smell all the oil and everyone's draped in linen. Like, you'll know you're in the right place, because everyone's wearing essential oils, so they'll all smell like a hippie.
And everyone's wrinkled. No, sorry.
Everyone's wearing linen. Yeah, they're wrapped up in linen. You're like, oh, I'm in the right place.
Yeah, that's really true. But think about that with choosing a spouse too.
Yes.
What's your frequency? What's his frequency? Are your frequencies coexisting and increasing each other?
Yes.
Are you
work
are
ethics.
you doing that, or are you counteracting each other?
Yeah, is he lazy and you're like a go-getter, like you're spinning all around like a crazy person, and then he's just laying there doing nothing, and you're like, really?
Because you
And you're gonna
can't
be
count on him changing ever.
he
Trust
won't.
me.
He
You should
won't. Are you
never,
young and listening?
yeah, don't
He
ever
won't
think you're going to
change.
change him. Mm-mm,
No,
no.
no. It's not your job to change him.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
No.
no.
No. Bro, no. Brenda's
No.
been married forever. Ask her. She'll
No.
be like, no.
Yeah. No.
No.
So that's the
Night.
thing.
Night.
That's the thing. And so what are, where are you putting compatible things together so that they're working well? Now, what that can also mean is that we change, because we can't guarantee somebody else is going to change. It's not our responsibility to make sure that somebody else changes. It is our responsibility to take inventory of ourselves and to come before the Lord and to change.
Yes.
That's what he
Yes.
requires of us. He's called us into holiness, guys. I mean, bottom line is, we need to get the let out. We got a
Right.
job to do. Sorry.
We do. And we're
do.
supposed to
We've got
get
a job
close.
to do.
The reason we're even told any of this stuff right now is because we are in a fallen world. Okay.
Yes,
We're in
we
a
are.
fallen world.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do is that we actually need to do whatever it takes here to, I would have written here. That's not even the right thing. Oh, living in the garden. None of this would have applied. None of this would apply to us if we all had stayed in the garden. So because we're not in the garden anymore, how do we live in a fallen world and not do more damage than we've already done? Like, that's what we're at with this. How do we do more damage? We don't want to do more damage.
Right.
So
how do we not do more damage? And how do we treat other people? So basically this is just going to come down to how we're treating other people. How do we treat, I mean, the Holy One is so good. He even talks about how we treat animals. Why?
Yes.
Because your character shows through by the way that you treat animals, because they are God's creature too. How do you treat the earth? The creation is his design, and it is alive, and it's made with the same stuff that we're made with. So if we mistreat the creation, it reflects us. It reflects what is in our heart.
Yeah.
Right. So it even says in here, I love this. It even says in here, you know what? If a mother bird's sitting on her nest, don't you dare kill her with her sitting on that nest. You don't do that. You don't do that. You separate that.
Yes, I've even gotten to the place where I know this is silly, but I don't know why I've gotten like convicted that even if there's like a bug in my house, and we were talking about this this weekend with Elisa, if there's like a fly, I try to shoo it out, or I try to grab it and put it outside to work where it's supposed to be, not in my house. If I can, if at all possible. And there's even studies showing on vibrations on trees. Like they were showing if you pick a tree lovingly and take it off, that you can do an EKG on a tree, and it goes into this like a faint, like kind of like an animal does before it's kosherly butchered. If you hold it, it'll at first, and then it'll kind of go into a little faint, and then it's like a piece. It goes into a place of shalom, and then it can be killed. The same thing happens with a tree. With an you could do an EKG on a tree, and that when you take the tree, it'll actually go into a faint, because there's actually some pain in removing that.
Man.
So they feel the thing. So I was thinking, imagine when they put those machines and they shake the tree all over to get all the stuff off it. I'm like, I'm sorry, Father. I'm going to be just really mindful of everything now.
Yeah.
I know it's silly. We're so far. I mean, this is off the track. So, but we're so far from where we're supposed to be, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I try not to even kill flies on Shabbat. I will be honest with you though. Sometimes I do.
My husband.
I live in Texas. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you got bugs and stuff. You know what? I mean, all of that stuff.
Go outside.
Go outside. Live your life. Enjoy your Shabbat. You come in here tomorrow, you're mine. That's that. It's like, be done with you. But today you get a pass. But
yes.
But I did kill a fly on Shabbat. My husband said, "Did you just kill a fly?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry. It was in my tea." I'm like, "No, it has to die now. It drank my tea. Sorry."
No. We hop on to the next thing. We're talking about rebellious son. And this is the thing we talk about.
This is flies anymore?
No more flies. Yeah. I underline on here. If he doesn't listen, if you talk to your kid, if he does, by the way, there is no known record of this ever happening.
No. Guys, never, it never did, never will. And I have the quote here if you want me to read that, Charlie.
Yes, please.
I did read that quote here. Well, you go ahead and keep talking and I'll find it. It's in here somewhere.
Well, I like that the process. There's such a long process, first of all, because this is a rebellious son, and we're thinking this is a son that's not only has they I wrote a lifestyle on here because they're glutton and they're drunken.
Right.
And I think that really just tells you there's this, I think the party kid, right? This is the kid that is in rebellion, and then and he refuses no matter what we do. We see the prodigal son as another example of the rebellious son. He goes off, he's rebellious, but what happens? He comes back and he repents.
Right.
So that's the difference. The difference is just the story about if you're put, this kid never repents, and even they would have had to gone through the court, right? Hebrew court. This kid they would have brought him to a Hebrew court, and they would have been found guilty, and then they would have been stoned. He would have had to not been repentant in front of this court to say, nope, still going to do what I'm going to do. I don't care about all of you. I'm doing my own thing. And unfortunately, then it would have got no known record of this ever happening.
No. Yeah.
Nothing. Never. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Yeah. It was talking about, it says here, and I'm checking the rabbinical sources because I was very curious about this because I thought, what the heck?
What the what?
What the what? It says that the death penalty imposed on a youngster is not because of the gravity of any sin that he actually performed, but because his behavior makes it clear that he will degenerate into a monstrous human being. And then it gives the Hebrew and explains in the Hebrew, we don't catch it in English, but it explains it in the Hebrew. Let him die while he is still innocent, and let him not die when he is guilty of capital crimes. That's what they're saying. There's many detailed requirements.
No, I was just what you said. I want to say on that is you think about this kid would grow up to be a man who would be, or he's still a man at this point, a rebellious son. We're not talking like a little kid. We're talking about old enough to, but he would grown up, he would marry, then he'd be a horrible husband, a horrible father, and he would just show this same behavior. It would just replicate. This is a grace thing as well. And what happens really can you imagine now if this was truly like, if we taught our children, this is what's going to happen if you go to this point, if this was taught, we would never have to get to this point either, because our children would be taught about rebellion. It's the whole thing about how horrible rebellion is.
Yes, it really is. So let me just read this real quick from the rabbinical source. It says, so many detailed requirements are derived exegetically, I think if I said that right, from this passage, that it is virtually impossible for such a case ever to occur. Indeed, the sages state that there never was and never will be a capital case involving such a son. And then it quotes it here, 71a. If so, many commentators contend the passage must be understood as an implied primer for parents on how to inculcate values into their children. For example, the sages teach that the boy's father and mother must have similar voices so that they don't contradict one another and what they expect of themselves and their children for consistency in successful child rearing. Anyway, it just goes on and on and on, but it's basically saying there's no way that along with this law, this regulation, there were so many extensions of it. There had to be so many things met within it that it would never actually happen. However, it's written so that the child has a deterrent and the parents have a deterrent, because guess who's in trouble? The parents, right? So so basically what it's doing is setting a standard for the parents to rear their children in such a way that they demand honorability from the child. And then there's also that, there's an escape for them, but you would definitely take them to the elders. You would be dropping them off.
I would have been dropped off. I would have been dropped off. I don't know if I would have been I don't know if I lived. I mean, just eye rolls alone. I don't even know as a teenager. I think that our children, like even now, I remember noticing a change with my sister raising her kids, and all of a sudden, oh, he's
Yeah.
just being cute. And he was like
Mhm.
running around kicking us or kicking my parents, or like it was almost encouraged as a 3-year-old for him to be funny. He was being funny instead of
Yeah.
him being taught then how to be respectful. And I could just tell a big difference
Mhm.
in how we're raised, right? And then it just
Yeah.
kept getting less and less. It's like, oh, let them be individuals, and
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. Just seems like we've gotten
Right.
worse.
Right. And then what happens with that is that we end up raising a generation of children that don't understand consequences and don't understand. And hey, look, we're not saying this about any of you. So please just, just, this is generalizations, but this is how a society is run. That's why every society has laws. That's why
Right.
every society has, they have curfews, they have ages that they allow children. They have to be a certain age before they can buy cigarettes, before they can buy alcohol, because they're helping the parents say, we're going to support you on this. Basically, that's what it's supposed to be doing. Don't speed. Why? It's against the law. Well, why? Because if you're speeding, you're not going to have good control over your car. If there is an accident that happens, you may not be able to turn fast enough, or you may not be able to stop quick enough. There's reasons for the regulations to help us raise a good society.
Yeah.
Treat people kindly. We act like, a lot of us act like, and I'll just say me, I was so opposed to the law back in the day, thinking that it was somehow impeding my freedom of being, born again. I'm born again, so I'm not under the law anymore. And the thing is that, oh my gosh, I look at it now and I think, oh, Father, if we're not under the law, we are lawless. We have no direction. We have no aim. We have no purpose. We're just willy-nilly about everything. Can you imagine a society that doesn't have any consequences to anything? Everybody would just be running around doing whatever they wanted to do, and it would be horrible. It would just be horrible. I love that the Torah is saying, guess what? Our God is the only God in this, to the time that the Torah was written. He is the only God who gathers his people and says, I love you so much. I'm going to show you how to walk this out. I'm going to set boundaries and limitations for you so that you have a good society, so that you have a good community, so that you can love one another, so that your children can be safe. And then the word says, and this is our God. How great is our God that he's the one that did this. Not only did he rescue us, but then he gave us all of these beautiful instructions and lines of limitations and demarcations to help us walk in a way that we will be able to raise children that have beautiful lives, that have honorability, that are merciful, and they're being trained up that way. You guys, this is why we love him so much. He's so good. And this is our Torah portion this week. It's like, it's crazy. It kind of hits a little bit of everything. Be kind to animals,
I
be
mean,
nice to
really, right?
foreigners.
Yeah.
If somebody that you don't like, even if their ox falls into the thing and you're on your way to a Shabbat meeting, guess what you get to do? You
Not
get
because
to
they're your
walk out the
bestie,
weightier thing, right?
your enemy. So you want to talk about that? The
Yeah.
weightier, the
Yeah.
kalal versus
Yes.
arar.
Yeah. The weightier. Kalal is the weightier. Yeah. And Charlie and I were talking about this earlier. I
The
don't
kalal
have.
is to make light of something. Actually, it's the
Oh,
light
okay.
in
So
importance, and the arar is the utter curse. It's the worst curse. It's
it's
something
the.
that's weightier. So the kalal would be like a curse that's something that you make light of, or you put it in low regard.
Mhm.
It's light in importance. It's even if you are making something light in importance, that you're going to be limited. Remember the words limited, not curse. We've
Yeah.
talked about this.
Right. Reduced,
Yeah.
compressed, put down. Right.
Yeah. So that's the case. And it's that word kalal is it's a kaf, a lamed, and a lamed. So it's saying that you're having two different kinds of teachings that's guiding you. The lamed, remember, is a teaching, right, Brenda? So
Right.
it's being
Right.
guided by two different teachings, which we've done. Like we're like, well, maybe it's a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
And a home,
And a
husband and
home.
wife not being in unity, teaching opposites. What does that do? It causes disunity with the children, right?
And light and importance. What are your friends seeing?
Right.
Are your friends seeing you well, you do some of the Torah but not all of the Torah, you do some things but not all the things. So then what happens is they don't really maybe your family, because I know that Linda Milla is on here. I think she's a great example of this. Her children watched her walk out, maybe walk out in consistency, which caused unity in her family, which caused healing and great amazing things to happen in her family. I know many of you have gone through this. As you walk things out, there's people watching you. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe if your children like, well, now what are you doing? And they see you walk this out consistently walking it out. You're not going after two different teachings. You're not got one toe in and one toe out. What happens is you're not taken lightly.
Yeah.
You can then be taken heavier. There's a heavier weight to that.
That's really good. I like how you put that, Charlie. Yeah, I like that. And in the Hebrew, if you have two letters next to each other, if you have double letters, there's a potential for conflict. So whenever you're looking at a Hebrew word, if you have two letters that are right next to each other, pay attention. It's really cool because remember that in Hebrew, the letters tell a story, and whatever they're next to increases the story. It expands the story, right? So Charlie is saying if you have two lameds next to each other, you're talking about maybe the possibility, doesn't necessarily mean that it is, but there's a possibility that in that situation that there's going to be a conflict. And then you were talking about the other word, and it has two reshes.
Yes, and that's you have the arar. Yes,
that's the head. So there's two different ways of thinking that can really be conflicting if the thinking isn't in alignment.
Yes.
And so if our thinking isn't in alignment with his thinking, because his ways are higher than our ways, we will have that conflict. If your partner with you, or even your children or your friends, whoever, if you're thinking and they're thinking are not in alignment, there's going to be a conflict there. So it's just, and
you really have your two heads on that too. And it's an utter curse. The arar is an utter curse. It's the worst curse. It's because you're having a rule, a power, or something's ruling and empowering over you. Not just even, it's just something what is ruling you.
Yeah.
And you need to sit. This is the time this is the time when we get to sit back and we get to say, what is it that's ruling me? Father, what teachings am I following, trying to follow two different kinds of teachings? And Father, you need to show me where I need to maybe merge, clean some things up.
Yes.
And you know what's really great? Can I remind you, he told us we didn't take the land all at once. We took it little by little.
Right.
So he's going to give you things. This year will be one thing. Next year will be why? Because it'd be more than you can handle if you all of a sudden you were like, you'd be in a coma because you'd be trying to fix all the things. Give yourself some grace.
Please.
This year.
Please.
What one enemy am I going to work on this year? Yeah. What am I going to take on this year? You don't have to take on all the enemies at once. I know you want to be an overachiever, but I want to give you listen. I'm giving you some grace right here. Just need one thing. And I was just looking up the word for going to war. It's laham. It's the word is actually when you go out to fight. And I took notes too. And I was listening to Lisa teach on this. But when it says when you go out to fight, it says when you get on your enemy. It doesn't. It's different. It's when you get on top of your enemy. So it's. I was telling them that when Randy and I went, we were at some battlefields in Kentucky. You're up on the top of these things and you're looking down and you're you're looking down on your enemy. There's a reason. So even in our lives, we need to get on top of the enemy. We need to get on it. We're not just going out willy-nilly. This is when you get on top of your enemy. He says, when you get on top of your enemy, there's going to be some things you're going to need to deal with. And one of them is going to be, there's some sins we're going to have to deal with. And we're going to have to deal with some crazy stuff. Maybe you've grown dependent on something. It's that you were this rebellious son. Well, that's not me. I'm not a son. I'm not rebellious. Well, What in your life have you just gotten? Maybe you're not, I'm going to say glutton. Okay, right here. Hi, my name is Charlie. I'm dealing with gluttony. But maybe what are some things that maybe you've grown dependent on that are
Yeah.
not him?
Right. Right. This is the perfect month, right? A month of Elul. This is the
Shit.
perfect month that we're supposed to be doing this, guys. So let's just get this all out. Let's just walk through all of these different circumstances here.
I mean, there's some of us like might
Courageous
need, you
moral
think,
inventory.
right? You're like, well, I'm not a drunkard. Yeah, but do you need a glass of wine to get through the day? Do you need, what is it? Do you need things like, there is nothing wrong with you. Y'all know I'll have a, I'm
Oh,
not saying anything
geez.
about drinking. Not at all.
Snickers bars for me.
But is there something you're like, I can't make it through unless I have this? Then you know I have a dependence on something, and I'm rebelling against something that I need to be depending on. How about him? How about, am I not being in his presence? What am I depending on?
Right.
And
what are
we
our
go,
crutches? What are the
right,
crutches that we're using?
but this is like perfect segue, Brenda, right? Because this takes us right into when we have dependence on other things, when we're rebellious and we're holding on. Maybe it's a couple teachings we're not really sure we want to let go. Maybe it's a program I just can't quite give it up, but we know it's not feeding our soul the way it's supposed to. So you'll know what you're rebellious. Ask him, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
And then what we do, Brenda, is sometimes we go to the extreme, because it says then what happens is you hang them. You have the guilty person. If you're guilty of a death sentence, which the rebellious son, any kind of a death sentence that required hanging, it said you couldn't leave that body overnight.
Oh, I love that. So chapter 21, verse 22, is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's suppose a man is guilty of a sin with a death sentence and he's put to death, and you hang him on the tree, and his body is not remain there all night on the tree. Right. Does anyone have hyperlinks popping off in your head?
Yeah. Yes.
You should have the man who went to take Yeshua down because he couldn't leave him overnight, right? He couldn't leave him through the night. Right. That was because he couldn't. That would have been breaking this law. He couldn't have left him out, right? Yes, yeah. Nicodemus. Thank you, Millie. Perfect. But what happens is if the reason that he can't be is because it was a humiliation to the one who created him, if it's left overnight.
Yeah. And it curses the land. It curses the land if you leave someone up overnight, but not to curse the land.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote notes. Leaving a corpse up on the tree, humiliation is the one who created him. Once justice is done, get over it. Once the justice is done, even in yourself, are you keeping yourself on the tree and not forgiving yourself, not forgiving others, refusing to forgive others? That's leaving them up on that tree and not letting them off the tree, because what you're saying is what he did is not enough. Right. Once the correction has been made, once the price has been paid, I mean, don't leave them up there like a piñata. Right. It isn't. And I think even myself, like, I know I've prayed, I've asked for forgiveness. I know that he's forgiven me, but I leave myself up on the tree and I'm not good enough. I'm not this. And I leave myself up on that tree, just dangling around. And what I'm saying is I'm not enough. And he's like, well, then you're saying I'm not enough. And I had a segue. I did a note over there on Facebook, and I know you know who you are, because I was just going to say that it was already in my notes to say. So I'm not saying this because of what you typed. It was already in my notes because I've been that person. I'm not good enough. If they really know who I was, I could never have a husband like that, or I could never have a friend like that. I could never have a ministry like that. Or we find ourselves flogging ourselves over and over and over. If you saw that movie, The Missionary, did anyone ever see that movie with Robert De Niro? Yeah, remember that? And he puts all the rocks on him, and he climbs up. He has to climb up to pay the penalty for the sin. I related to that because sometimes we feel like just being forgiven is not enough. We need to carry some rocks up a waterfall or something and be flogged, and then we feel like, okay, well, now I've paid the price. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote big note. You have been resurrected from that.
Amen. Let's just pray real quick, Charlie. Come on, let's pray for the ladies. I feel like somebody really, really needed to hear this. Mary Catherine just said, break off the performance issues. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Abba. Thank you, Abba. Yes.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
Father, will you just set us free? Set us free from this, Father. Will you just set us free right now? Every one of us, we just come before you and we're just saying, set us free from this, Father. Forgive us for speaking so ill of your precious daughter, ourselves. Forgive us, Father, for not seeing our own value, not because of ourselves, but because of who you say we are. So, Father, whoever needs to be delivered from that right now, will you just speak life to them? Will you release them from that bondage? Will you set them free and allow them to just walk into right now, Father, just walk into your presence so that they can see themselves from how you see them, the view from your eyes, Abba. Will you do that for us today?
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Thank you. For those who need to forgive.
Yeah.
They've been hurt and wounded and they're still telling the story and they're still nursing the wounds. They're keeping that person up on the tree. Father, would you show them how to cut them down?
Thank you, Abba.
To let them loose doesn't mean that they have to
be
best friends with them or in
mm-hmm.
agreement with them,
mm-hmm.
but show them how to let them go, to let that go, Father, because your presence resides in them. And that no longer will they leave that shame. No longer will they bring shame to that person or the earth or to you, up leaving that person hanging from that unforgiveness.
Yes.
Would you show them how now, Father? Show them how.
You.
Release them of that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both released to move on and move forward.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you, Father. So that healing can truly begin to work its work, because you are Yahweh Rapha. You are the God who heals. You are the one who heals. Healing is in you, Father. And you want each and every woman here to be healed in those fractured places, in those broken places. You want wholeness and wellness to be with these women who have turned their lives over to you, Father. So that's what we're asking for right now. As Charlie prayed, that they would be able to release those that have wounded and hurt them. They can release them into your hands. Turn that over to you, Father. Allow you to be the judge and the jury to all of it, knowing that they can count on you, Father, to truly be their savior, to truly be the one who stands up for them. And as they're releasing the people that have wounded them, that healing will just flow in and fill their hearts and bring together the pieces that have been fractured in them and in their children and in the people in their families, in their home, Lord. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
Father. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Amen.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. Thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for taking the time to just, this is real, ladies. Charlie and I our whole thing is like, come on, guys, we know that there are, we know that there are better teachers. We know that there are people that everybody knows more than us. The more we know we don't know. But being in this community and being in this group here, what we are being called to do and what we're being called to offer you guys is practical everyday life, walking out Torah. And it's going to mean that sometimes we don't know. Well, yeah, rarely, but no.
Yes, rarely, but usually we can find it, or we know someone who knows.
but we know people. And those people know things.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what we want to do is really like bring the Torah to you in such a way that you're going to be able to look at it just a little bit differently, so that it's not scary anymore. Yeah. So that every week you're not going, oh my gosh, I didn't understand anything. I read this and I didn't understand anything. That's okay. That's all right. Read it anyway. It's good. Yeah. Read it anyway. Whatever version you have, don't worry about it, because the Spirit of God is bigger than English versions, English translations. Amen. I mean, come on. He's bigger than all of that. He wants to speak to you through his word. His word is valuable and important, and his word never goes void. You know, when he sends a word out to do something, it will always accomplish what God has sent it out, just like the word itself. The word itself is an instructor. It is taking us to a particular mark. It is leading us to specifically to something,
Yes.
you know. And so even with his words, that's what he's doing.
Yes.
So don't be worried if you're new and you're not getting it. Please don't. There's so much non-judgment here.
Yeah.
Please.
And Brenda says this all the time. You're exactly where you need to
You're
be.
exactly
And
where you
I
need to
feel like I
be.
need to tell you, I'm going to read the scripture for you, but I want to feel like
Yeah.
I need to say for all of you who are looking for husbands, again, I want to say, listen,
You got
start
some?
praying.
You got some names on that paper?
I got some names.
Phone numbers?
No. I want to say this. Would you start thanking him for
Yes,
the man that
yes.
he's bringing into your life?
Yes.
And the second thing, thank him that he's changing you and healing the areas so that you're the woman that man's praying for.
Yes. Yes.
Not that
yes,
you change and be a
yes.
different person, but that you're healed, that your
Yeah.
baggage is unpacked. It is put away, that you for him to start making you the woman that
Yes.
man is praying for.
Yes.
So that you can pull the load equally together. So
Oh,
focus
that's
on,
beautiful.
Father, maybe you need to go on a diet. Maybe you need, but let me talk to myself. Maybe you need, I need to go on a diet. I have a husband. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you need to start being nicer and more grateful. And, I don't know what it is. It could be physical.
Right.
I think he acts in practical ways. He'll say,
Yeah.
hey, you need to be a little more healthy because the man I'm going to bring you runs. And he may not appreciate that you're a couch potato. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
who he is, or vice versa. You're a little crazy about your workouts and he needs you to simmer it down a little bit. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I digress.
No, but that's really good. Ask him, truly trust him to be bringing you into alignment so that when you know what, sisters, we want to see you running full on. Go for it. Reach for the stars. Be everything that God has created you to be. And if you're not married and you're waiting for a husband, you keep going. You dig in. You just go. Be in front of the Holy One. Spend your time with him. Fall in love with him more and more every day. And that man who's going to be your husband will run to catch up with you. He will, and then you guys can run together.
This might be crazy. I'm going to say this, Brenda, and y'all all might fire me. But I feel like I'm asking to be stopped if this isn't what I'm supposed to say. I feel like we are the most like him when we're together in a partnership. And I'll just say in marriage, because we were one, we were pulled apart, and then we come back together as one. That's when we're the most fruitful. We're the most like God because we're all of his characteristics, male and female, right?
Everything's in there.
I think that it's I think it's alignment with his will. I think it's very rare that he's called people. He may have called you to be single, but you would know it and you would have peace about it. You may not like it, but you would have peace about it. If he hasn't called you to be single, sister, start thanking him for this man he's going to bring you and start praying for him to cause you to start to be whole, so you don't bring a bunch of crazy into a relationship. You can pull a load equal with him, that you either, if you need to strengthen up spiritually, physically, emotionally, get healed, bring whatever you got to do. Let's do it this year that you can get alignment, right? This is your year. I believe this. I believe this is your year. Let's do it. Okay. Galatians.
That's good. Woo! Okay, do Galatians, and then I've got one more to go to. So do Galatians. Let's read. Let's read
Galatians 3:13. If someone wants to type it in all the places, Galatians 3:13 through 14. He says, Messiah liberated us from Torah's curse, having become a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is anyone who hangs on a tree, in order that through Messiah Yeshua, the blessing of Abraham's might come to the Gentiles, so we might receive the promise of the Ruach through trusting faith. Okay. So this is going back to the hanging on the tree. He's saying here, he took the punishment for this rebellious son curse right here. He took it for us, because guess who we are? Guess who Israel was? He had to he had to pay the price for this rebellious son by paying. He took that limitation, right? That curse. He took it so that we then Didn't have to. So then what we're saying then, when he says that it was he says in here, if you hanging on a tree, anyone hang is a curse, is cursed. If we then say, nah, I can't forgive, or I can't forgive myself, here we go. We're saying that Yeshua did not, what he did right there wasn't enough. Him dying wasn't enough. Y'all
Wow.
get it? Do you feel that?
Wow. Wow.
Do you need to forgive yourself today? I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people getting set free from
Yes.
this.
Amen.
Freedom of the forgiving themselves, whatever you've done, wherever it's done. I mean, abortion. I want to say that.
Yes.
Forgive yourself. Did you treat
Yes.
someone poorly? Have you committed murder because you've annihilated someone's reputation? Forgive yourself. Have you caused some kind of a death in something? Forgive yourself.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
you committed adultery? Have you somehow you've not lined up with the 10 words where he said, this is who you are, daughter. He's saying today is a new day. It's who you are. Enough. He's forgiven you. I
Yeah.
just want you to feel the liberty of that today. There is
Right.
nothing so big, nothing. That's the reason that this is here. There's nothing so big, even the death penalty, that he can't overcome. That's all I got.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Amen and amen. There's nothing. And that's we have that assurance that there is nothing that we've done. There's no place that we can go to hide from him.
Mm.
There's no depth, there's no height. There's nowhere that we can go to hide from him. He loves us so truly and completely and is so committed to pursuing us that he says, even height or depth, not angels or principalities, not things present, not things to come, not life or death, can separate us from the love of God. Nothing, truly nothing can separate us from his love. So if we're in a place where we continue, as Charlie said, we continue crucifying ourselves, we're out of order. Okay. I understand humility is one thing. That's not humility. That's that's opus. That's the Cheney whippy thing. What is that thing? I say opus dei. Linda Millett knows what it is. It's that thing, mea culpa, or I don't know, something like that. It's that thing. Stop it. That's that thing. It's a whipping yourself. Stop, because what you're saying is that you are of no value, and that is completely outside of his will for you. So there's kind of like two different ways of looking at it, huh, Charlie? There's this righteousness that we receive in this gift of this righteousness that is imparted to us when we accept Yeshua Messiah for who he is. There's this righteousness that's imparted to us. There's this born again experience, this cleansing, and this connection, the vav, the connection of what Yeshua did for us, and this moving into now all of a sudden we are forgiven. We are set free, right? But all of that, and that's free. You can't earn that. No one's trying to earn that. That's free. That is the gift of God. But once you get to that place, sisters, don't let anyone deceive you. You need to walk in holiness from that moment on. That is your gift to him. His gift to you is freedom. Yeah. You have the freedom to walk into his presence, right? But that requires you to be holy. The righteousness that you need to gain is the righteousness of walking in his ways, being like him, following him, doing what he did, honoring his ways. That is the righteousness that is imparted to you. That's different. That's not you earning your salvation. That is the righteousness that is imparted to you by your actions and deeds. And when we're coming up right now, we're coming into the fall feasts. Those of you that have never experienced one, how exciting is this time? We're coming up into the fall feast. We're coming up to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah, right? And then the 10 days of awe. And then Yom Kippur, Yom HaKippurim is what it's called, actually. Yom Kippur, we call it. Yom Kippur. And that's the Day of Atonement where we rehearse our death and our burial and then our resurrection all over again. We get to do that. That's that time that we come, but we're coming before him to be accountable for what we've done in our life. We're coming before the Holy One, and we are being held accountable for what we have done. It's not earning our way into anything. It is, do you want to live an abundant life? Or do you just want fire insurance?
Yeah.
Because that's not
Right.
living. You might as well
No.
just tell them to take you now. That is
No.
not living. Once you've been given this amazing, beautiful gift of being born again by his Spirit, being born into this family, then you need to start behaving like everybody in a family has to. Everybody has rules, right, Charlie? Everyone has rules in their family. Every child has to learn how to do things. You make your bed, right? You make your bed. You don't earn your mom's love by making your bed, but you sure do earn her favor by making your bed. And that's the
And you
whole
avoid
thing. And you
consequences.
exactly. And so this is all about us. This entire Torah portion is about us learning how to live in such a way that we are not only blessing the land and the animals, but the people that we come into contact on a daily basis. That's what this is all
Yes.
about. And it's about living in harmony with people. It's about honoring people as we live in our daily lives. And this situation is going to come in, and this situation is going to come in. And I mean, the book of Leviticus is full of that, right?
Right.
This is going to happen, and this is going to happen. It's never happened before, but it could happen. And if it does happen, this is what you're going to do, because the Holy One loves us, and he's putting in all of that in here so that we can learn how to walk in such a way that is pleasing to him, and we're living an abundant life, because that's truly the goal. Yeshua said, I have come that you would have life and have it more abundantly. He didn't say I came so that you'd have fire insurance.
Right.
So I died on the cross. Now everybody can just be gone. No, he said, I came so that you can have life abundantly. And how do you have life abundantly? By walking in his ways.
Right. You know, that verse I read in Galatians is used all the time for people to say, well, see, that's why the Torah is no good. Jesus came so that we didn't have to walk out the law. That is not what he's saying. Y'all know, if you read that now, you know, no, it's a hyperlink to say that he took the curse for the rebellious son.
That's right.
He took the penalty for this. He's not calling Torah insignificant. He's not calling Torah, he's not calling Torah a curse.
Yeah.
He's not referring to Torah as it's the curse of Torah, meaning the limitations if you break the death penalty. He took the death penalty, the law of sin and death.
Right. Right.
He wasn't calling Torah the law of sin, that Torah was a law of sin and death. He was saying the sin and the death that came if you broke Torah, he took it on himself. He didn't say stop honoring Torah. Does that mean, I hope you can use that when people are saying something, you can be like, no. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 21. Right. Let's really understand this, because that's not what he was saying. And then we go into 22. I mean, this is like 1 Corinthians 13.
So good.
1 Corinthians 13 right here.
It's totally,
He's saying, okay, it's, you know, we can go back to the New Testament, and they're saying, hey, anybody can love the lovely. Anybody can be nice to the nice people. But what do you do with your enemies? If your enemies, what if you just can't stand your neighbor and his dog runs away? Do you go out of your way to go help them find their dog? Or you be like, glad it wasn't me. That's what he deserves. If they can't make their payments, do you help them make payment? Do you help them take care of something if you know they have, I don't know. Well, are you going out of your way to bless your enemies? Bless those who curse you? I know, right? I saw your face, Marion. I just saw the face. I make the same. I was going through this, and he was convicting me like, love and practice is what my title of mine says. It says, you can't, I underlined in verse 3, you're to do the same thing with the donkey or his coat or anything lost by his brother. Do you remember Yeshua teaching this? If someone asked you for this, then give him he's just teaching this. You do realize this whole thing is all repetition. Just turn it.
Yeah.
It's all repetition just so that
Yeah.
we can learn it. It's just repeated
Yeah.
over and over and over until we get it somehow.
I
So
love how it says, you may not ignore this.
I know I underline
Like,
that. You
hey,
may
hey.
not ignore them. You may not watch your brother's donkey or ox fall down on the road and ignore it. You must certainly help him lift it up again. Have you watched what someone you don't care for watch their spirits fall into a ditch?
Yeah.
And did you help them come out of the ditch? Were you the good Samaritan? Were you the one who came along and helped bind up their wounds, heal their brokenheartedness?
Yeah. Because that's what you get to do that.
You get to do that. You must.
Yeah. You get it.
You may not ignore them anymore. I'm telling you. He's hitting me.
You may not ignore them. I just laughed. I read them like, oh, did that just get put in there? Because I don't remember reading that last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good. In other words, sorry, it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's inconvenient. But see, this is how we have beautiful community, Charlie. This is how we actually get to walk out a beautiful community. And it doesn't matter if the person is a believer or not. It's whoever is put in your sphere, whoever, because we need to be the counterculture here. We need to be doing things differently. And if we're doing things differently, people are going to look and go, what is happening? Not to look at us, but what's motivating us? Who are we glorifying? Because if we're glorifying God, he's going to take care of the rest of it, right? He's going to take care of the fact that it's inconvenient. Because it's usually going to happen right when you're tired, hungry, cranky, and dinner's going to burn if you don't get home in 15 minutes. It's usually when you see your next door neighbor pulled off on the side of the road with their hood up on their car, right?
Their ox might be called Alexis. Also known as an ox. Yeah.
Alexis, yeah. Or a Mustang.
Trying to change their tire, it might be their minivan.
With their 14 children under the age of 15.
And you're mad at them because they split your congregation up and you're not allowed to talk to them because they made you angry, because they caused harm to your family.
Because they talk about you honoring Sabbath.
It's going to happen. Yeah. And they might even make fun of you when you do try to help them, but you have to do it anyways.
We need to be really careful because I'm just laughing at myself going, oh goodness, this is going to end up happening to me this week.
I'm just thinking I can't go outside. I think I'm going to stay in home.
I pretty much going to stay in until Sukkot starts. Order everything online. Grubhub and have
everything delivered. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, let's not.
Where do you want to go?
Well, you know how I love this. Every year I always jump in on this one. This is so good. So it talks about birds. It talks about people, animals, building a house. Make sure that when you build a house, you put a rail around it so nobody falls off the roof. I mean, that's lovely. I mean, is that amazing? Is that not amazing that is being said? Hey, if you're going to build a house and it has a second story, make sure you put a rail around it. You don't want anyone falling off your house. That's not good stewardship. And you're thinking, this is Torah? Yeah, guys, it really is. Why? Because it's good for the community. It's a safety thing. And it has a lot of implications. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, wherever you're living, if you don't have the proper rails around you, you're going to cause someone to fall. Okay, so
they're going to get hurt.
Boom. Yeah, this is life. But and then of course you don't want to have a vineyard that has two different kinds of seeds because they're going to be competing with each other. The soil's going to get confused. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I have a random thought about the seed thing. Isn't it interesting that our Father, the Creator, created seed-bearing plants? And isn't it interesting? Think about it when you go to the grocery store, how we are now doing the opposite and genetically modifying. You know where I'm going, Sarita? Genetically modifying things to remove the seed.
Oh, she's going there.
Yep. Not going to say I'm not loving my watermelon without some seed in it, but now I realize I am buying into this culture that's removing seeds.
Yes. Okay, I'm not the only one that's been getting convicted about eating seedless watermelon. I
I
thought
pulled
I
up
didn't want to
even
say anything.
cucumbers. I was like, because I've been getting things farm fresh that are non-GMO. Guess what? All your non-GMO stuff has seeds. Doesn't look as pretty. A little bigger,
Yeah,
because
right.
it's not
Yeah,
modified. We're not modified. And
yeah.
if we're putting that genetically modification, it has to be modifying our DNA and our cells. It's modifying the things inside of us. Just throw that out there. Do whatever you want
Yeah,
with that.
right,
Just thought I'd
right.
throw that, since we're talking about, I don't know what we're talking about
And all of
anymore.
you wonderful people who grow your own gardens, I'm
Oh,
not gonna pick on anybody, Sombra. I'm not gonna pick on anybody. All of you people who grow your garden, we're so proud of you, and it's so wonderful. And I really truly do love that. I really
yes.
do. I really do. So, kudos to you. It's so good. The part that I love, and there's so come on, Charlie, there's so many great things, guys. We could
I'm
spend
looking around
another
like
hour and a half
we only have a few minutes. Like, where do I want to? Yeah, like,
planting our vineyards, not wearing mixtures of wool and linen together. We already talked about that earlier because I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. But first of all, he said so. Bam. Second of all, the frequencies counteract each other, so it's not good for a lot of reasons. Um, Putting tassels on your garments really important. Okay, so that's another huge thing. But this is the one, Charlie, that I love. Verse 13. Suppose a man takes a wife and he goes to her and then he dislikes her, right? And he accuses her of shameful things and gives her a bad reputation. Okay, so here we go. And he says, I took this woman, but when I came near her, I didn't find her virginity. So he's slandering her and he's slandering her family. Okay, that the family lied to him and that he was married under faulty pretenses. That's what he's saying. That she was used goods, and she didn't say that prior to the wedding, so she was false. Then the father of the young woman is to take her, and her mother is to bring out the signs of the young woman's virginity to the city elders at the gate. The young woman's father is to tell the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as a wife, but he hates her. Indeed, he has accused her of shameful things and saying, I didn't find your daughter's virginity. Yet these are the signs of my daughter's virginity, and they are to spread the wedding cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city are to take the man and punish him. And then they are to fine him 100 pieces of silver and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought an evil name on a virgin of Israel. And then she is to be his wife, and he may not send her away all the days of his life. In other words, he is going to be financially responsible for her forever. Now, he tried to get rid of her and lie about her. So this is the whole thing. On the wedding night, the tallit is laid on the bed. The couple consummates the marriage. There is blood, proof of her virginity, right? That tallit goes to the parents. They have proof that she was a virgin. So we've talked about this before, but Charlie, you know, if she wasn't a virgin and the husband loved her, then he could put his blood on that tallit, and that would go to her parents, and for all time, for all eternity, she would be considered a virgin
I'm
bride,
going to start crying right now.
and her dignity would always, always, always have proof of her honorability. He would cover her with his blood, and that blood would be on that tallit that would be spread out for proof that nobody could ever refute. Now remember, we're talking about a time frame prior to DNA testing, okay? So come on, guys, let's just listen to this from the perspective that it's being taught to us, Torah. Forever. If this husband loved her and she was honest with him and told him before their wedding night that she was not a virgin, he could cover her and prove to the world that she was, honoring her. and saving her that way. What did Yeshua do for us? That is what he did for us, because we were not virgins in that sense. We have had other gods. We have not been faithful. And yet he holds up the legal document that says, this is the proof. This is the proof that on our wedding night, my bride is a virgin.
Gospel, Book of Deuteronomy, mic drop.
Yeah.
Right, Marcia. Exactly.
Right, exactly. Romana said, while we were yet sinners, he gave his life for us. Absolutely. He knew the state that we were in. He knew that. He didn't tell us that we had to, that we had to be changed before he would love us. He loved us before. And he said, I've got you. I'm covering you. And there will never be, this penalty will never fall on you. The penalty falls upon him. That's the great love of God. And so, you know what, guys, in your Torah portions here, when you're reading this, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, Charlie and I are always talking about, will you do me a favor? Just read through the Torah portion anyway, even if it doesn't make sense. Just read through it and ask the Holy One to just give you one sentence like this that will pull you out of the pit and remind you of his mighty, great love. Just one thing in the week. That's all. And you can just read the whole thing and then go back, find just one thing that just grabs you. Because next year it'll be another thing that grabs you. And the next year it'll be another thing that grabs you. But his word is alive and living, and he truly wants to impart this. It's written inside of us so that we can live a life of abundance. We can live a beautiful life where our generations are serving God for generations to come. So anyway, that was just my little thing. I'm just so blessed. I'm just blown away that he did that for us.
It's beautiful. I feel like the whole this is such an important portion, because the gospel is in here. So many times we see the gospel in 24 about marriage and divorce. We see,
Charlie,
him fulfilling the law of the husband. We see that we're talking about the law of the husband here, and we go back about marriage and divorce. This is about protecting the bride, protecting women, so that men don't go around trying a bunch of women on and seeing if they like them or not.
Right.
Saying, I don't like you. Them. Oh, there's a prettier. Oh, there's someone else. Oh, I like her better. And then we talk about, and then we do have women here who talk about, have brought up multiple marriages, polygamy. And so I'm going to do it right now. Okay. So when it comes up, everyone say, go back and go back to this one, to Tetze, and say, what did Charlie say? And this is our stance. Brenda, back me up.
I'm backing you up.
Here's our stance at the Rooted Cafe.
Yeah.
We don't believe that polygamy is not cultural. And if you live in a polygamous society, it's different. Cultural where you live on this planet, because you're hearing this message, and where you live, it's part of your culture. Yeah. Because you live in the jungles or somewhere, and I don't know how you got internet and how you're listening to this. But if that's your culture, that's what you believe, then there's some rules for you in here. Mm-hmm. These rules are not for people. Otherwise, what he's saying that there's going to be a hot mess. If you're living in polygamy, there's going to be a hot mess. We've seen it happen over and over and over. But if you do, if that's your culture, and if you do, then here's the rules. You're not allowed to, because you like this one better, you make her son the firstborn. Even you already have this one is not the firstborn. Yeah. You can't play favorites because you like this one better now. So her son, even though he's not really your firstborn, so if you love this one more than this one, which is going to happen, there's going to be drama.
Well, we saw it with Jacob, guys, didn't we? Joseph was Jacob's firstborn from Rachel, and Reuben was his firstborn from Leah, but his preference was to Rachel. and his preference was to Joseph. And look at Joseph was the 12th son. And look at all the 11 brothers before him. And what was he, the 12th son? No, he was the 11th son.
11th.
That's right. Benjamin was the
12th
12th son. Sorry.
Anyone can do
cut
this.
that out? I know anyone
Thanks.
can do this. Anyway, this job will be available tomorrow. I will be fired. But he was the 11th son, and he was preferred. But what did it do? It caused angst in the ranks of the brothers. There was so much jealousy, and it took so long. And what did it take? It took Joseph being sold into slavery and going into Egypt, and then rising up in Egypt and becoming the viceroy of Egypt in order to save his brothers, for that to even be mended. I mean, Judah and Reuben and Simeon all stepped up. Then, how many years later? Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, because it was out of order. And it caused a lot of division, and it caused a lot of hurt, and it caused a lot of heartache. And so it's not saying, well, this is a good thing. It's saying, if this is your situation, make sure that you're being honorable in this situation. Okay. Anyway.
So there's that. So our position is we do not support polygamy.
Yeah.
However, if you live in a jungle somewhere, or in a society that allows that's part of your culture, because that's how you're protecting the seed or whatever. We're not saying you're going to go to hell because of it. We're just saying that we don't believe that it is cultural for now. It's against the law in the United States. So that's our position. In case someone's listening from the man, it's against the law.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
And Lord have mercy.
Help us.
But we recommend, if you want more on marriage and divorce, we highly recommend Dr. Robin Gould has an amazing book. If you haven't read it, why? So if you go to therootedcafe.com and go into our store, we have the links. It's not, it really is. It's just, it links you to where you can buy it. You're not buying it from us. You're going to buy it from like Amazon, but it is an affiliate link, not going to lie. So we might get 44 cents or something, but it's like $5 for this book. I think you should buy one for you and every woman that you know, because like you need to buy. This is the best story of the gospel I have ever heard. I mean, I listened to when she taught it and we have it. If you're in the Rooted Cafe, go back into your archives and look at the conferences. You can listen to the old things. Go back and listen to her. She did in October. She did it again in January in our Releasing the Biblical Feminine conference last October, Hebrews conference in January. She did a teaching on this that will blow your mind, and you'll say, I've never heard the gospel taught to me like that. I listened to it driving with my husband, and we were both in tears, and I was at the conference. Hello, I was there, and I was crying. I was like, this is the most beautiful story of the gospel, the way that Yeshua fulfilled the law of the husband so that God could remarry his bride, Israel. It's beautiful. So that's your segue to go buy the book and read it.
It's very inexpensive. It's very inexpensive, but do it like Charlie said, do it through, go on to the Rooted Cafe and go to that link, and then go to Amazon from there, because then like 2 cents or 3 cents or 1 cent goes towards the Rooted Cafe. It helps us keep.
That would be nice. And if you want to see those, it's super worth it, guys. It's super worth it. It's only $19.99 to be with us. If you want to go over into the Rooted Cafe, it's $19.99 a month, even if you come for a few months, just so you can go in and listen to those things, listen to those. You don't have to buy those all access passes. You can just get it in your membership. It's included. It's free in there. It's right. You should just be in there. So there's so much amazing stuff. And then there's Brenda's courses, and there's such great things.
You get to hang out with us all the time.
So those of you that are going there and you're loving so much, and we get this. Yeah, we have our Slack thing. It's so much fun stuff. Okay. For those of you who love Gail's Parsha points every week in there, I am excited to tell you that coming up this next Torah cycle, which will begin after Sukkot, so it'll be in October, we'll begin the new Torah cycle again. Can you believe that, Brenda? We're going to
No, it's going so fast. Slow
down. So we'll start this again, and Gail is actually going to do the half Torah. She's going to do like half Torah points. So she's going to go in and do that every month, which I can't wait for. I'm so excited. So that is you can always go back, you can still go back. The Parsha points will still be in there because I feel like I read stuff and forgot I read it. And I'll go back and read that. Wow, that was good. And then I think, oh, I read that last year. So those will still be there, but she's going to be doing the Haftarah.
Yes.
I can't wait. And she's excited because this is new for her. So you're going to be learning along with her. And she's a genius with ancient Near East perspective. I love her
she
stuff.
Really is. Seriously.
Gonna love it. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
join
good.
Us. It's still not too late to join us. I don't have my book. Still not too late to join us for the book club. You can come in anytime. Even if you just jump in, we come on. If you go in, you're on Facebook right now, you can go back in under they call it guides now, hit guides, and you can watch it or have to scroll back and find them. But we are live streaming. It's not part of the Rudu Cafe, the paid membership. It's part of the free membership, this book club. And we're going through the alphabet through Proverbs 31. And it has been so amazing. It is so great. I don't know who else. Type in here what you're loving about it. I want to hear about it, but it's called The Strength of a Woman by Lauren Cruz. And she is just delightful. I love her. And she's been popping on. Just so you know, this week, one of the stories that she tells in the book, that woman is going to actually be showing up on Sunday. So she's going to share with you guys, whoever shows up. She's actually one of the ladies telling her story in the book is going to share live with you. So not only will Lauren be there, but one of the other ladies. So it's like triple crack book club.
Yeah. You want to type that in real quick, Charlie? Is it the strength of the woman?
Strength of a Woman, Lauren Cruz.
Okay.
Strength of a Woman. And it's doing the Proverbs 31 doing the alphabet. And we are starting this week. We left off. We'll start with Lamed. So the next 3 letters. So possibly, maybe we'll just get Lamed done. I don't know, but we start with Lamed and we try to do 3 each time, but that doesn't always work out. But love you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brenda. Thanks for being here with me today.
Is it already time for us to? We didn't even.
It's
finish.
time.
We didn't get to the Haftorah. Isaiah 54. Read it 1 through 10. It's really good.
Read it and write. Tell us Facebook. Tell us what you're learning from it. Tell us.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're not too late, you can hop on with us over in Zoom. I see Wanda. She just hopped in with us.
Great.
Hop over with us and we're going to do the
after party.
Yeah.
Well, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all of you who are listening on the podcast after this. We love you. We appreciate you listening in, and we're so glad that you are here with us. This is a great way. The podcasts are a great way for you to be able to listen in your car while you're driving or you're taking a trip. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Good stuff. And you can always go, if you want to know, like, how do I listen to that? You go on to therudacafe.com in the store and you say podcast, you can click on there and it'll tell you how to do all the stuff to listen to that.
Yeah.
We have it all set out. So love you guys so much and have a great week. Read it and be nice to people.
Be kind.
Even if you don't like them, be kind.
Be kind even to animals and bugs. All right. Join us in the after party. Stay on and join us in the after party. Jump on over, all you live Facebookers. Jump on over.